All right, looks like we're live. So my mic's working. How is everybody doing today? My name is Brian Morrison. I'm a software engineer out of Chicago, Illinois. I usually live here every Thursdays right on my YouTube channel. Also publish new content every week. Channel updates at BrianMMDev on Twitter or join my Discord, fullstack.chat. Best place to get in touch with me. So today, well, I guess lately, this whole entire, last couple weeks, I've been really kind of diving deep into Golang, just because it's been on my radar to pick up for a while. So last week in the stream, we built a tool out for, what did I do? Oh, Templify. Templify is a tool, open source utility that I built on my GitHub repo. bmorrisondev is actually my username on there, so go check that out. And what it does is it lets you clone down any GitHub repository into a new template. It copies it into a folder and reinitializes the repository for something you can, upload to yourself, or a project template you can use yourself. So I'm trying to further my practice with that. And today what I'd like to do is create a small CLI utility that lets me convert Postman collections into the .htp format that the VSCode Rest Client plugin supports, because that's kind of what I'm switching to. And I have a lot of stuff in Postman that I want to get out of there. I'm not quite in the spot where I can really move it away yet, but that's kind of the goal. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into it. I'll show you what I got so far. Let's see here. So this is just a basic API. All it does is it lets me send a request, and also I guess this is what the format of one of these .htp files looks like. So the action is defined to the left of the URL, whatever you're going to push into it. So I've got a get action, or I got a get request defined here. I've got another get request that returns an individual item. Post lets me send up some data into the API. Put lets me update it, and then delete obviously lets me delete that specific record. All this data is being stored in Fauna, but that really doesn't have any, it doesn't really affect what we're doing today. It's just I'm throwing that out there as information. Fighter Club, welcome. Saw it was very good, helpful when helping me use a Raylib, for me using a Raylib template. I'm not sure what a Raylib template is, actually. If you could throw that in the chat, that'd be pretty cool, but thanks for joining. And also, I was going to try and listen to different music, but I kind of like listening to the lo-fi music that I got going on the stream. There we go. That's a little bit better. Alrighty, so anyway, let's see here. So yeah, so this is what one of these specific files looks like. And I'm going to recreate, the first thing I'm actually going to do is we're going to recreate this in Postman so we can have kind of like a one-for-one, I guess, comparison of what it's supposed to look like. So I'll create a new collection, and let's just name this. I don't know why it didn't let me rename it. I'm not used to this new, the way a Postman looks now. I've been using the VSCode plugin for a little while now, so let's see, test. We'll just name this test collection. Excuse me. Let's see. Let's create a new request, and localhost 3000 is where we're running off of right now. So I'm going to rename this request to get, just make it as generic as possible. Let's go ahead and send this and make sure it works. Okay, it does. It returns some data. That's all I'm really interested in right now. I'm going to copy this ID since that's what we have to use to actually get an individual record out of the database. So let's create another request here, and I guess I can create it inside this collection, make it a little easier on myself. Let's see here. Add request. And let's go ahead and take this post. I'm going to change these names, and the reason being is I'd like to name the request inside of the VS Code REST plugin file that we're going to be creating, just so this way we can do something called chaining, so you can chain your requests through if you really want to. We might not actually get to that detail in this stream, but yeah, I'd want to get that feature in there anyway. Let's see, so post localhost 3000. And let's paste in that ID now. If I send this again, this is not good. Oh, get is what we got to do. We're going to rename this. So there's our get request. So we'll change this to get item, I guess. And then this one will be fetch items. So that returns an entire list. And let's create a post request. Create item. It's going to be the name of this request here. Change this to posts. Localhost 3000, and can I minimize this? I really can't. Let's do that. Let's add some data in here. So I'm going to change the type of data we're sending to raw and change it to JSON. this, what we need to name the key, test key, test val. Good enough. All right, let's go ahead and send that. Okay, so that returned an ID, which means it did actually create it up in Fauna. And we can confirm this by, actually, we could just go ahead and fetch all of our items, just send that in, and you can see here's the test key and test val with that ID. And let's go ahead and create another request. We'll do put. I guess update item will be the name of this one. Localhost 3000, and that's going to be / the ID that we just copied. Is this the ID we just copied? .38, okay. So this is going to be a put request. This is going to update our records. So if I go in here and let's minimize this again, give myself some more room. And body, raw, JSON, another test, and another val. Go ahead and do that. This is an upsert or no, it doesn't do an upsert. This is it just replaces the individual field. So I don't know if it's going to replace the whole document. No, it just updated and added that one field. So we're not replacing everything. I should know this since this is a library that I wrote. So let's go ahead and also do a delete item. And we'll set this to localhost, and we're going to delete the same item that we just posted in there. So I'll do that. And let's go ahead and go to the body again. We don't need to do the body. We'll just change this to delete and save it. Trust me, there's a reason we need to go through the process of doing all this. So I'll send the delete record. I got a 200 okay, so let's go ahead and fetch those items again. This second item here should then be gone. Send that. Okay, that's good. So our API is all working. Everything's set. So if I right-click on test collection, and I'm going to do export, we're going to do collection v2.1. Okay, so it's been exported. Now what I'm going to do is inside of VS Code, I'm actually going to open up a new instance since we're going to create a whole new project here. And some of this is going to be pulled from memory. Some of it I'm going to have to do some research on. But let's see, let me open that file that we just did. Forgive my allergies, they've been acting up quite a bit today. So this is what that exported file looks like. It's just JSON, right? So ideally, all we'd really need to do is pull the is iterate through all this and basically convert it into that .http template that's structured like let's see. This is the structure basically I need to convert it to. So this should be a pretty straightforward application that we're going to build here today. It's just, again, going through the process of trying to figure out, like, exactly all the right pieces in Go, specifically, that we need to do. So, all right, so that is, so we're done creating the collection. We have the file that we're going to be working with. So let's go ahead and open up a new folder. In my repos, I'm going to create a new folder here. We'll say Postman to HTTP, since that's what I'm going to name the project. And I need to remember, I don't remember this. There's a package called Cobra in Go that lets you generate out a kind of like a generic shell for a CLI application. So I'm going to go ahead and start searching for that. Figure out exactly how that works. So Golang Cobra. Here we go, like this. So we need to install Cobra first. So this is the command to install Cobra, that go get _u and then, you know, the actual URL of the GitHub repository, which I think is really cool inside of Go, that you can just pass in a URL for GitHub. It's like neat and dangerous. So like if you're installing a package you don't quite trust or are not, you know, don't know, you could run into potential issues. Excuse me one sec. Okay, so that looks like that was installed. Let's initialize a new Go module. So Go mod init, and we'll name this Postman. Actually, you know what? We'll do github.com /bmorrisondev. That's my GitHub address, and then we'll do Postman to GitHub, or Postman to HTTP. Okay, so our new module is created. Let's go ahead and try in this Cobra command. So if I remember off the top of my head, I'm gonna zoom in here a little bit so it's easier to see. It's Cobra, Cobra init pkg name, and that's Postman to HTTP. says it's not recognized. I don't know if that's because we need to bounce this VS Code session. I'm going to close out all of my VS Code sessions and reopen the backup. I've noticed that sometimes VS Code doesn't pick up the new utilities you have installed, which can cause some issues if you're working a lot in the terminal. Let's open recent. We'll open Postman HTTP, which is what we just started with. And I also need to start up our API since we closed that down again. So npm run dev starts nodemon, which runs it on localhost 3000. All right, so let's see what we got to do here now. Let's try that Cobra command again. So Cobra init pkg name, and then this was Postman to HTTP. It still doesn't like that Cobra. Term Cobra is not recognized. I don't know why it doesn't like that. Command success on CMD. It can create the command successfully. Okay, so it doesn't seem to like it running in PowerShell. Can I switch? New command prompt. And let's do Cobra init pkg name Postman to HTTP. Still doesn't like that. Scanning through these docs to find out how to figure this out. You have go path set in your PowerShell. I don't know if GoPath is actually in PowerShell. GoPath. It doesn't do anything. Let's switch back to PowerShell and see if we can echo that out. So it's not set. Let's find. We're going to set this manually for the time being. Shit, I don't remember how to do that actually off the top of my head. Yeah, GoPath is there. So star env GoPath. env GoPath, I think is what it is. We might be able to short circuit this by finding out exactly where it's supposed to be. So Templify is there. PKG, it didn't install it globally, it didn't seem to be like. An executable here. I don't. Alright, let's see if we can find one online. Either that or we'll just... I guess, you know what we'll do is forget the whole Cobra thing. We're not even going to worry about that. Let's go ahead and just create a new main.go file. And we'll just basically start iterating through this, because I don't need to really overcomplicate this. Package main is what we're going to start off with, which defines, I guess, the name of the package. I'm still new to Go, so if I'm wrong, feel free to call me out on it. Func main, I do know that that is the kind of the entry point for the entire application. So I'm going to use fmt.println hello world just to make sure this thing runs. I like doing this just to start off with to make sure I have the basic structure of the application set up the right way. So go run main.go is the way we execute this, and I got hello world out in the console, so that's good. So let's kind of like iterate. Let's see what we need to do here. So the first thing we need to do is we need to we'll grab the file path from the args. Then what we'll do is we'll import the JSON file. We need to marshal it, or unmarshal it, I don't know the exact term, to a type. So we'll have to basically define that type as we go. And then we'll need to basically export it to text. So we'll iterate through it and create a text file. So we'll create an out string, and then finally we'll save to the disk. So these are kind of like, this is a rough outline. I'm going to move this over to the right so I got a little more room to work here. So this is kind of a rough outline of exactly what we're going to do, and we're basically just going to get right into it. So let's see here. We need to grab the args. So I think args... I forgot how to do that. Fighter Club, are you talking about hello worlding everything when you first started up? Because that's something I've like always done. I don't know why. So args with prog. Okay, os.args looks like what we're going to use to grab those. So let's do fmt.println. And we'll do os.args. Yeah? No? Just do arg0, I guess. That if it's a slice, I think we can reference it like that. Okay, let's try args. We're going to cast this into a variable. Args. Yeah, there's no parens or anything there. Why is this complaining? Oh, it's complaining only because I didn't save it yet, so it didn't import the OS package. Alright, let's run this again, see what happens. Yeah, so the first argument that comes in is the argument for the actual the path of the executable, like where it's actually being run. Okay, so that's kind of what we need, but we'll need to get args1. Now I'm betting the application is going to crash if I do this, but index out of range. Yeah, that's what I figured. So we only have one would be the first argument. We didn't pass anything back in, but what I'd want to do is like let's move actually from the desktop. I'm going to move this test Postman collection into here so we can kind of see what it's supposed to look like, because we're going to use this to create our types so we can basically convert it. We can pull the string into something else. Into, I guess, one of the types, like an object inside of Go. Although I don't think Go is object-oriented technically. It's still a variable, I suppose. Struct. Struct is the name. All right, so we'll do like that, and let's do test Postman collection like that. Okay, so it pulled in the name there. That's cool. So that handles getting our args. I'm going to close that for now so we don't need these other files. So grab the file from the args. Now we need to read this file into disk. So I need to look up how to golang JSON from disk. Parsing JSON files with Golang. Here we go. I like this. Seems to be pretty straightforward. I don't see any specific type. Then we'll need to get into doing some kind of struct. So let's just paste this code. Why not copy pasta, right? Let me get rid of some of these comments. So the actual argument is going to be this guy here. Let's paste that in, right? Let's say successfully open file. So this isn't actually going to show us anything, but it opens the file at least. So now let's start. This I think is a byte string. os.file. How are we going to convert that to byte value? Here we go. I know this is something we're going to need. We're going to need to read the file. So there's our error handler. Let's come down at the end here. I don't think we need this anymore too, so we're going to get rid of that. So byte value is actually the byte slice, I think is what it's called. It's not an array. This is not considered an array. It's kind of like an array. It's like an open-ended array in Golang. There might be more to it than that, but that's the extent of what I know. So I kind of treat it like an array. So this is a byte array of that actual file. And then what I can do is I've done this earlier already. So fmt println, and we'll do string byte value, which I think casts it to a string, and we should be able to echo it out onto the. We should be able to echo it out into the terminal. Make sure that we're actually pulling the data in right. There you go, like that. So we were able to read the file. I guess for all this, if we're doing this in order, I think I can do like that. So we're going to close the file there. I have no idea what defer means, but I've seen that whenever you're closing files, or yeah, whenever you close a file, because I've done something similar with XML at work. You got to put this defer in front of it. IntelliSense is not helping me out here. All right, so print line, there's a string, so we don't really need that anymore. I'm going to leave it commented out just so we need it. We're importing the JSON file here, though, so I'm going to put that like that. I like keeping my comments kind of organized above the blocks of code that they're going to be doing. Now we need to basically convert it to a type, unmarshal. So if you're marshalling it, I'm guessing going to string, unmarshal. Goes back into a struct. Now we get to start creating some types based on the way that this thing looks. So let's open up our test collection.postman again. I'm going to put this off to the side, and let's just start creating some types. I'm going to create a new file called types.go, just to keep all the types in here. This can actually go off to the left. All right, so type. I guess we can name the first one Postman collection. It's going to be a struct. And now we just need to more or less kind of like pick apart this file and figure out what it's going to be. So info is going to be another struct. So we'll do info Postman collection. I guess we'll just do info. Why not? And we're going to create this type right away. And this is going to have a Postman ID. And that's going to be a string. And the way that we can basically tell the marshaller, unmarshaller, I don't know, it's called serializer. I've used to, when I worked a lot with C#, and we usually call it a serializer there. Is we use those little backticks, JSON, colon, and then inside of quotes the name of whatever it is inside of JSON, which in this case is underscore Postman ID. ID, like that. And then let's also, I'm going to duplicate this so I don't have to repeat this over and over again. So name. And that's going to be name and schema. I always like the word schema. It's a fun word. All right, so like that. So the way that this is structured right now, let's see if we can actually just get some of this data. Referring to tutorialedge.net, I want to give credit to this. I actually dropped this in. Damn it. Hold on one sec. This is the. Can I paste? Yeah, paste it. There we go. That's what I'm following right now. So let's go ahead and throw that out there. Okay, so now we need to do this unmarshal. We need to convert. Basically, we're going to set that to a specific object. So let's create our object here. So var Postman collection, like that. So probably need to name this something different. Postman collection. I think that's how you define this, right? Oh, inside of here we didn't put package main up top too. I think we need to do that for all of our files. Now if I save this, can I have IntelliSense? It does. Okay. So Postman collection is the name of our value that we're basically going to dump that data into, and then JSON is the name of the package. Unmarshal is the name of the actual function that converts it into the struct. And then we're going to pass in Postman collection. This ampersand has something to do with pointers, but I don't know enough about exactly what it does. I think what you're doing is you're basically passing in a reference to this variable. So this way, Golang understands that we want to update this variable as a reference as opposed to updating it as a new object inside the function itself. I think I got that right. All right, so this should basically convert it into that specific object. We need to also set the JSON stuff here. So JSON, this will be info, like that. So we know it knows how to convert it back out. And then let's just print out some stuff to this. So fmt.println, and we'll do Postman collection .info.name, and then let's also do Postman ID and schema. So by running this, what I should be able to do is I should get this actual object, this Postman collection will be populated by the data from the JSON. So let's run this again. And Run. Undefined Postman collection. It doesn't like that. Alright, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just moving this into the main file. Something to do with the way that I'm trying to import this. Whoa, that was loud. I apologize. Alright, let's try and run this one more time. Okay, so we got test collection. It was able to pull that data from the JSON file. Cool, so now we just need to build out the different pieces that we're interested in. Okay, so down here I'm going to say type item struct, and inside of here we're also going to have an item, and we'll name this JSON. So again, this JSON we're adding here is what's going to tell the JSON package to pull it from which one of these fields over here. So this is just going to be item, like that. Alright, so in our item we have a name string, and then we also have a request, which is going to be its own separate type. And let's create that type now. This is how I basically build out the models for my application. It's just comparing the data on the right-hand side and just pulling them in one by one. There's probably some kind of... You know what? This would be a decent library to do, too, to like pull in a schema and just have it automatically generate a Go file that has all the types and everything. Maybe we'll do that next week or something. All right, so this has, each one of these items has, or each one of these requests has a method. It's going to be a string. We'll go back and add all the JSON stuff afterwards. We have a header, which looks like it's going to be, do I have any headers defined here? I don't, unfortunately. Let's change that, actually, and then we'll replace this file. So inside of my get item, let's just add a header, test header, test value, I suppose. Let's save that and re-export this. And instead of putting it on the desktop, I'm actually going to go right into the repo. And this is Postman HTTP. We'll place that file. Sorry again for the bells if that was super loud. I don't even know if my desktop audio is being shared right now, to be honest. I have no idea. Alright, so that's exported. Now if I go to the GET request, did I get a header? Yep, right here. Alright, cool. I'm not sure that this type is really going to be interested, but let's just kind of iterate through this, continue down this path, right? So that's going, this is going to be a header, headers, I guess I could change this to headers, and header is going to be yet another type, so let's create that real quick. Header struct, and that's going to have a key, which is going to be a string, and a value, which is going to be a string. I'm not going to set the type, because I really don't know what that's even for. Let's set the JSON here so we don't have to worry about it later. JSON is going to be key. And down here, JSON is going to be value. Okay, so why are you complaining? Oh, yes, that's right, because in Go, the brackets go before it to define it. Okay. So that's that. So each item. So I got the headers down. Let's get the URL. So type URL. It's going to be a struct. And we'll say, I'm just going to grab the raw. I don't see a need for the other stuff quite yet. We might change that in the future, but that's the only thing I'm really interested in right now. JSON. And we'll name this raw. And this is going to be URL. It's going to be URL. And that looks like it's pretty much the definition of each one of these things. So from here, we could start creating the file to spit out to the disk. We're making really good time on this so far. We need to finish getting these JSON definitions set up. Okay, and we'll send this. That's header. Header is a single. And method. JSON method. Okay, that one's done. And request is going to be JSON request, and then finally name. Oh, I got this. I got my quotes out of order here. Okay, so all of our data types should be set up fine. So actually, this goes all the way up here. We don't need any of that stuff. And let's create that out string. So this should get us basically the structure we need. Let's, should we run it? No, I'm not going to run it quite yet. Well, bug floating around here. Okay, so we need to create a string. So string, I guess we do out string. And this whole colon equals is basically kind of like inline casting it to a new type. So we're just going to pass in an empty string like that. And then let's see, what we'll have to do is we'll have to iterate over each one of these items. Test collection is going to be the name of the file, I think. Postman ID and schema I'm not really interested in yet. And the name of the item I'm not really interested in either. We're just going to iterate over the specific, I guess, items here and see what, I don't know. We'll see. Let's just code along and see what we get. If I remember the format, it's underscore item is going to be equal to range, and we're going to pass in this collection. I'm going to rename this collection because it's a shorter name that I have to type. Range collection dot items, right? Expected operand found range. Let's see. How do we loop through stuff? Yeah, it's a for loop. I wanted that range loop. Func range 4. I gotta put a 4 in front of it. Connection.items. Why? Why can't I iterate? Cannot range over collection variable of type item. Oh, because it's not a. Oh, this has got to we got to put that bracket over there like that. Okay, now we should be able to iterate over it. So, okay, so for each one of these, we basically need to reformat the file so it looks like our test.http file, which, as a refresher from earlier, this is what this file specifically looks like. So we're going to be generating this. So we got to put the method first, and then the URL, and then 2 spaces, and then that, and then 2 more spaces. All right, so let's do outstring. I don't know if I could do plus equals in here. And I'm going to do, let's see, item.request.method. Is that a new line? No, we don't need a new line. Plus space, plus item.request.url. .raw, like that. And then we'll add a new line. And then we also need to consider the headers. So for header item.request.headers. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. Does it say on the documentation what that's supposed to be? It looks like that's an index. Yep, looks like it's an index. All right, so IDX, I guess we don't need. We're not going to use the index, but just do that. Let's leave that like that. Okay, so for each one of the headers, we also need to put something else in front of here. So we'll do outstring plus equals to header dot, what does our header look like? Header dot key. We got to add that little colon there, and then we're also going to do header dot value, and then add a new line there. And then after each of the headers, we're going to add a new line. Not after each of them. So for each header, we're going to add a new line, but we also need to add another line after the fact. So outstring plus equals new line. So this should basically be a completely unique, deal here. This is going to be tricky because we basically have to convert this JSON into a string itself. Oh, we didn't consider the body. So under create item, let's see, under request, we've got header. We also need to add body. And that's also going to be a type of body. We're going to create that. JSON body, like that. And let's create that body type now. And mode is raw. Interesting. I kind of just want to grab raw. This is probably going to be something I iterate over. Like I'm kind of writing this right now with this very small example in mind, just to kind of kickstart my process into building something. But I have a large number of Postman's, you know, collections and requests and stuff that I use for work and for personal projects. So I'm eventually going to kind of feed those into it and see what comes out the other end. And I'm sure I'll tweak this as we go. Yeah, let's just take raw, and you know what? I think I could just add the raw in here because it's already got the returns and new lines and stuff in here. So this might spit out to the string the way that I expect it to. Let's try that. So we'll do if body is a specific object. If item.request.body not equal to nil, I guess. Nil's kind of like, I guess, the equivalent of null in Go, although it's not. I'm not 100% sure. I just play with the code and I figure things out as I go, and then I eventually learn. So if it's not equal to null, then outstring is going to be plus equal to. We might not even need to check for null, because if it is null, then I think it just puts an empty string there. So, but anyway, and then outstring. The last thing we need to do is plus equals new line, 3 hash marks, and then a new line again. All right, so let's run it through this, and I'm also going to fmt.println, and let's pass in our outstring just to see what this thing looks like. This is still complaining, and I don't know why. What does that say? Expected Boolean or range expression found assignment. Ah, here we go. Range. Undeclared name outstring. This might be because it's inside of a for loop? Uh-oh. Might have an issue. Just type of body and nil. All right, let's fix that one issue. Now I need to figure out what's going on with this outstring, because this I don't fully understand. Outscreen cleared, not used. Let's see. Use variable from outside for loop. Whoa, this is old. In Go, a Go template, not a Go template. Variables and range loop. Golang provides interesting construct for going over that. If anyone's got any suggestions, throw it out there. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how to basically append a string into here, but it's saying undeclared name outstring, and I suspect that's because I'm trying to call that same variable from within the range. That range loop. I also suspect this is probably a pretty simple fix, I just don't know enough about how to do it. RA1, okay. Range expression is is evaluated once before the beginning of the loop at the end. To avoid copying the array, iterate over a slice instead. No, that's not it. The range loop copies the values from the slice to a local variable n. Updating n will not affect the slice. That's also not what we're looking for. Use the pointer of for range loop. I did not think appending to a string was going to be what tripped me up. In fact, I'm kind of shocked. This is like the last thing I thought would really set me back. Wait, that might have actually been describing what we were looking for. Scroll down again. No, that didn't really look familiar. Let's just look up a base example. So Golang range loop append string. Oh, you know what? I'm so stupid. Never mind. I realized this after, because I've done a little bit of this already. I totally forgot. I totally didn't realize that my the names of my variables were wrong. Mismatch types on body.raw. Like that. Okay, now let's give this a shot. See what goes on. Okay, so the JSON actually did get converted the right way. We might need to add a couple of extra new lines in here. I'm going to eliminate this one so far. Let's run this again and see what it looks like. So that got rid of some of the spacing here. I also want to do if... we'll probably need to put a counter here. To not do this on the last one. We don't want to actually add all this extra stuff on the last one, although it doesn't really hurt anything. That will probably space it out a little bit better. Let's run this again. Okay, this looks closer to what I was expecting. Let's add another new line after the body. Run that again. Okay, so that added a space after that. We do actually need... You know what? I realize what's going on here. So we need to add the new line here only if the body is actually populated. Otherwise, the other code will take care of the rest of it. Okay, so spacing-wise, this all looks pretty good. My header's here. I should have an extra space below that. Let's clear screen here. Get a better idea what this looks like. Okay, so I got my first request up here. This is all looking pretty good, actually. Let's check this last one. So I'm going to do counter equals 0. And for each one of these, we'll do counter plus plus, counter plus plus. And we'll say if. We actually will use, I guess, the index on here. So if IDX. If the index is equal to the counter, is not equal to the counter, then we'll add that last piece there. Save that. Let's run this one more time. All I'm basically after is I don't want those last 3 sets of hash marks to be appearing. Yeah, you should be able to see that at the bottom, and it did. T.print ln. I want to see what this looks like. It might be counter -1. I'm thinking now. So println, we'll do IDX and we'll do counter. I think that works when you do it like that. Yeah, so -1. No, that's not it. I get tripped up with some of this basic logic sometimes. It's not the counter. We don't need to be worrying about the counter. What am I doing? The index and the counter are going to be the same. We need collections.length. So index +1 and then length of collection.items. And let's just comment this out real quick. So I want to just run this through and see what it looks like. That's better. Okay, so that's what we're doing. The length of the array, not a counter. We don't need a counter. So we'll do if that's +1, and let's clear out this line here. So now we should not get one at the end there. Yeah, so delete is the last file. We still get a new line afterwards, but we don't get a delete there. Okay, so this is formatted perfectly. This is what we want to. Last thing we need to do is save it to the disk. Let's do, what time is it? I still got about 10 minutes that I can keep doing this, so we gotta figure out how to save a file to a disk. Let's see, Golang, save file to disk. Save text file. Oh wait, Chrome. Writing files, okay. So scanning through this, checking the error, so os.create. No, I don't like that. Let's find an easier to use example. Same thing. Might not be an easier to use example. So we create the file, we write the string, we close. Let's try some of this. I'm just going to copy this out here. And let's go back into our stuff, not the demo API. What is L here? Let's copy the rest of this. I missed a bunch. And we're going to use the name here. And we'll do, let's use collection.name, info.name plus .json. So creating the file, we're going to write our string. So we're going to write out string into the file. And that's the length. F.close. If error is not equal to nil, close it. It's kind of interesting syntax here. I don't think we need the rest of this. And let's change this underscore. I think underscore is a way of telling Postman or telling Go that you don't really expect this variable to be used. It's almost like a placeholder. Okay, so let's run this one more time and actually see if we get our file out that we're expecting. Oh, hold on, .htp. Let's change that to HTTP and run this again. Okay, we got an HTTP file and look at that, we got it. So what we've done I think it's pretty cool. We might have some time to publish this out to my GitHub too. We'll do that real quick. Is we have taken, delete this extra file we don't need here. Apologize about the noise again. What we've done is we've written a program in Go that will take a Postman collection like this. You know, this is all I did was here is I had a Postman collection inside here. Right click, export it to a JSON file. And when I run this, what it will do is it'll parse all the JSON in, at least all the relevant bits of the JSON in. It will reformat it to look like this and then spit it out to the disk. And there you have it. Now, if I run this, I can just click send, and I'm not trying to do HTTPS. Does it default to HTTPS? Or am I not running? I might not be running. No, I am. Let's just try HTTP. Send that. So that works. So one of the things I will certainly need to do is fix it so this way, I'm not going to bother doing that right now, but I'll need to fix it so this way if there is nothing on the front of it, it will default to HTTP. Although that's kind of, I don't know if that's something I want to leave as an option. Maybe I'll add that as an option later. Okay, we're going to wrap this up by publishing this out to GitHub, I'm thinking. So I'm going to log into my GitHub account. And let's create a new repository, Postman to HTTP. That's available. A simple CLI tool to convert Postman collections. Oh my goodness, collections to the VSCode Rest Client format HTTP. All right, yep, it's public. I want everybody to see it. Let's do this. Let's create a simple README file. So readme.md. And let's name this, let's see, Postman to HTTP. I'm going to copy down that description. I usually like keeping these things kind of consistent. Where is my description? I thought I used to be able to hover over this and it would show me that information, but it's not right now, and I don't know why. Oh well, that's not that important. Actually, let's create I'm going to create a build script. No, I don't need to create a build script. Let's see, Postman to HTTP path to JSON file. How about like that? That's probably pretty self-explanatory. Export a file.json and It's gonna be sh. Let's see, the following will import the specified file and export it. Current working directory as the name of the collection. Probably made this name of collection.htp like that. Yeah, I like that. Good enough. Good enough. I'm gonna open this and let's clear screen, get our terminal, and we're going to do git init and git add remote origin, and let's copy down this new URL we just got. Anyone in chat is interested. There's the URL. Git remote add origin. Paste that in. Git add dot, add all the file. Git commit initial commit. I need to update this so this way I need to update the README. I'm gonna grab from Templify. There we go. So this is actually the same, that other CLI tool that I wrote last week that I was talking about. I'm gonna grab all this stuff down here because standard legalese kind of stuff. Support, disclaimer, project under development, use at your own risk, kind of that's normal stuff. And we're gonna git add dot, git commit updated README. And we'll do a git push set upstream origin master. Okay, so we should have some files up here. Refresh this. We got it. And let's go ahead and build this guy. So go build. We'll create that release real quick here too. Main go builds .go, and I think it's dist / postman. I forgot the name of this. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I have reference to that as well. So inside of my GitHub workflow that I have defined for here, it's go build v out, like that. And I will eventually get that same thing, that same kind of setup workflow into this project, but I don't have time to do that right now. Postman to http.exe. Okay, Postman http.exe is done. Let's go ahead and create a release. Postman HTTP, let's create a new release. I probably should tag this. Yeah, let's tag this. Tags, let's create a new tag. Alpha master v0.0.1.0. Enter, no message, create tag, git push tags. Git tag. I forgot how to push tags. Git push tags. Git tag, creating tags. Annotated. Deleting, checking out tags. Push. Git push origin. Okay, that's easy enough. Git push origin tag. Oh, it's just a version number? v0.1.0. I feel like this is gonna work. Oh, it did. Wow. So now if I go back into my GitHub, let's back out here. I should have a tag, which I do. Okay, let's create another release now. So this is going to be off of this tag. And that's not what I wanted to do. Let's edit this. And can I add a file? Say initial release. Let's add in our executable that we just created. And no, not Rest Client demo. Postman HTTP. Okay, and for those interested, here is the completed executable that we just built on stream today. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, we had some fun. We built some stuff in Go. I built a little CLI utility that does that whole Postman collection to HTTP processing. Links in the chat if you're interested. I'll also drop the link to the completed project in the video down below. If you want to get in touch with me and chat more, at BrianMMDev on Twitter, fullstack.chat is the URL to join up my Discord. You can so hop in there and let's hang out. But until then, I am checking out. I will have I'm basically done for the week, for the day. I'll see everybody next week. Bye-bye.